Welcome to my village analysis, a late hour moment, and the Tanzania Kenya saga cannot go undiscussed. And what has drawn to my attention is another slip of tongue by Kenyan government officials that will definitely have Kenyans tomorrow onward picking. Let's listen to this because this is going to be another bomb.
Aspects, but I'm just stating the facts as they are at this point in time until we get any additional information through the diplomatic process.
Have you spoken with them? Because Senior Counsel Martha Karua is on record in a TV interview just yesterday saying they reached out to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs while they were detained at the airport and that no help was forthcoming. So you say you're waiting for the Tanzanian authorities, but have you spoken to the Kenyans who are deported? And what are they telling you?
First of all, I've just said that our ambassador, Mr. Isaac Njenga, I'm in touch with him. And he has visited Boniface Mwangi. Isn't that part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Kenya?
Yeah, I'm asking about the ones who've been deported and who are back here.
They have not got in touch with me.
So they're the ones to get in touch with you?
They have not yet gotten in touch.
Has the ministry, its officials, reached out to them to just speak to them about their ordeal there and what happened?
No, I have not done that.
Do you intend to?
I will.
Ladies and gentlemen, that thing happened yesterday, and up to now, Kenya will take issues with the government because they feel the government have neglected their people. And 2 days later, without a prior contact between the government and the citizen deported from Tanzania, will definitely ruffle feathers, especially Kenyans. And we already know what Kenyans have been doing. And you heard what Suluhu Hassan, the madam, had to say yesterday about Kenya. Let us just have a glimpse to hear what Madam Suluhu said about Kenya.
Tumeanza kuona mtiririko au mwenendo wa wanaharakati ndani ya region yetu hii kuanza kuvamia na kuingilia mambo yetu huko. Sasa kama kwao wameshadhibitiwa wasije kutuharibia huko.
Kama kwao wamedhibitiwa wasituharibie huko.
Tusitoe nafasi. Walishaharibu kwao. Walishavuruga kwao. Nchi iliyobaki haijaharibika. Watu wako na usalama na amani na utulivu ni hapa kwetu. Niwaombe sana vyombo vya ulinzi na usalama na nyinyi wasimamizi wa sera zetu nje kutoa nafasi kwa watovu wa adabu wa nchi nyingine kuja kutovuka hapa kwetu. Hapana. Ninalofanya ni kulinda nchi yangu na ndio wajibu niliopewa. Kwa hiyo
that was the message from Madam Suluhu, and with that message, a number of Kenya activists who were in Tanzania were arrested, detained, and deported. And as we speak today on the 20th, we still have one activist, Boniface Mwangi, who is detained in Tanzania and will possibly be deported. And Kenyans have not taken it light. And the response from Honorable Mudavadi will definitely be coming.
I will.
When?
I will. Don't worry. I will do that.
Okay. You're talking about the Tanzanian election. I want us to listen to President of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu, on what she had to say regarding the deportation of the Kenyans.
Yes, listen please.
Tumeanza kuona mtiririko au mwenendo wa wanaharakati ndani ya region yetu hii kuanza kuvamia na kuingilia mambo yetu huko. Sasa kama kwao wameshadhibitiwa wasije kutuharibia huko. Tusitoe nafasi. Walishaharibu kwao. Walishavuruga kwao. Nchi iliyobaki haijaharibika. Watu wako na usalama na amani na utulivu ni hapa kwetu. Kuna majaribio kadhaa. Niwaombe sana vyombo vya ulinzi na usalama na nyinyi wasimamizi wa sera zetu nje kutoa nafasi kwa watovu wa adabu wa nchi nyingine kuja kutovuka hapa kwetu. Hapana.
I'll give you some Kenya reaction on the same.
Nimeona klipu kadhaa za kunisema niko bias na nini. Nalofanya ni kulinda nchi yangu na ndio wajibu niliopewa. Kwa hiyo hatutatoa nafasi kwa kiumbe yoyote kuja kutuvurugia hapa. Awe yupo ndani au anatoka nje. Hatutatoa hiyo nafasi.
Waziri, she says utovu wa adabu nchini kule, presumably in Kenya. How does this statement make you feel? This is a Tanzanian president talking about utovu wa adabu wa Kenya. Are you intending to protest this at all?
No, I will not protest.
Why not?
Because I think there's some truth.
Wow.
There's some truth.
Okay.
Let us face a few facts. The level of etiquette, the level of insults that we see bandied in Kenya, even though we have the freedom of speech, is sometimes going overboard. All right. So to the extent that she's saying that people sometimes have gone to extremes in their utterances in Kenya, it's a fact. Now, what we need to talk about is this. Can we get to the bottom of the treatment there?
Okay, because Waziri,
but
allow me,
but in terms
to just
of,
understand what you're saying.
You know, I'm a Kenyan too. Okay? And the fact of the matter is that our approach and our utterances, because we are free in speech, sometimes our comments have lacked serious integrity.
Good. I want to ask you this question. Comments and utterances. So are you saying that they had made some comments and utterances there that were offensive to the Tanzanian government?
These are facts we will have to establish.
But you seem to be agreeing with it.
I'm agreeing to some extent with what she has said.
Do you think that statement then sends out a wrong signal about you agreeing with the manner in which they were deported?
No, I don't think.
Because in as much as their utterances may be uncomfortable, it is the freedom of speech. And until it crosses the line to become a criminal matter, then that is something else altogether. Whilst you or I may be offended, are you then saying that curtailing the freedom of speech is something that you agree with? In line with what President Samia Suluhu is saying?
No, she has said that she's unhappy, okay? And she says that because they observe what we do here, okay? Now,
but that has no bearing in terms of evidence on what they were doing there.
And that is why I said I will need a little more time to get more evidence into the details of the operations, because there are incidents that have happened. So we'll pick up and get the facts. But let me just, to the point of saying whether we have displayed decency, I'm not talking about the individuals in question here, but she's talking from a general viewpoint.
Okay.
And if it is a general viewpoint, I think she has a point.
All right. She goes on to say that is those were attempts to destabilize her country. And that is a serious allegation. Is that one the Kenyan government is going to take lying down or lightly? Because it's not just utovu and nidhamu, but she ends that statement by saying she will do everything to protect the stability of her country. So do you say you agree that some of the utterances that are said are offensive, but are you then agreeing with her that these Kenyans were there not just to make, quote,
I think
those statements, but to destabilize the nation of Tanzania?
Yvonne, we have to get the facts, okay? And we shall use diplomatic channels to establish more detail about the Kenyans who are there and what they may have done or may not have done.
Okay.
That's
so you think...
But what I must say is this.
Yeah.
When somebody says that there is destabilization, we take it seriously. And that is why I'll follow up to find out to what extent was there destabilization.
Have you summoned the Tanzanian ambassador to explain
I have not.
The comments?
Remember, these are individuals. These are individuals who went to Tanzania.
Kenyan individuals.
Kenyan individuals who went to Tanzania. They did not seek permission from the government of Kenya.
Do they require permission to travel to Tanzania?
They do not require
permission. It's the Jumuiya.
It's the Jumuiya.
There's free movement of people across borders.
But let's face it also, the Jumuiya has not taken away the sovereignty of the states.
Mudavadi's speech will definitely...
The countries have not ceded their sovereignty to the East African community. Sovereignty still remains.
So do you think they were there to challenge the sovereignty of the Tanzanian government?
Oh, can we be a little more accurate
I'm asking to clarify.
I've told you that sovereignty matters, but I've not told you that they went there to challenge the sovereignty. But sovereignty matters. So if there is sovereignty, then a country will take certain decisions. Okay? They have taken the decisions. It is the duty, through the diplomatic channels, to find out what were the circumstances in detail. Not necessarily what comes through the media. That is how we operate within the diplomatic circles.
So speaking of the diplomatic circles, when are you then going to speak to Tanzania's ambassador to Kenya?
That is my responsibility. It's my job. I'll know when to do that, and I'll know how to do it.
Kenyans are looking for answers because this is something that's happening in a public space.
Yes, it's happening in a public...
Right now, Boniface is detained by Tanzanian authorities. Others were deported, including, by the way, a former Chief Justice, who one would imagine enjoys perhaps certain privileges in a country such as that. So, I mean, is it not a fair question to ask about how far the diplomatic channels are going?
Why don't you wait so that we go through it, and then I can talk to it again?
So when do we hear from you again on the matter?
I'm usually very forthright. When I'm ready to talk again to this issue, I will talk to it.
Okay, all right. Let's take a break and go to some stories now. We will come back. There is much to talk about.
Good.
So definitely Mudavadi has set a tone for Kenyans, and the Kenyans now feel they have been left. And so the delegation will protect Kenyans if the CS in charge of foreign affairs will have given those utterances. Kenya will not be happy. They will react, and I know AI generation will be there. If you are new to my channel, kindly subscribe. A returning viewer, thank you. Make a comment, also like and share. Thank you. Isaac Ledamasuki.